You are now tuning into a drop of melancholy. If you are in a good mood and wish to remain so, do not watch this video.
Before we start, here's a quick disclaimer. If you are a hardcore religious person or an avid Bible believer, don't watch this video, okay? Don't watch this video because I don't want y'all to get in y'all feelings like y'all always do and argue with the people of this community. But as far as everybody else, watch this and then we're going to chop it up.
The Christian God is the devil, part 1. In John 8:44 in the Bible, the devil is clearly defined as a murderer from the beginning. Genesis 7:23 in the Great Flood, God kills over 1 billion innocent people. Genesis 41, God kills 70,000 people. Exodus 9, God kills 300,000 people. Exodus 12, God kills 500,000 people. Numbers 16, God kills 14,000 people. Deuteronomy 2, God kills 500,000 people again. His KD's off the chart. Judges 7, God kills 120,000 people. 1 Samuel, God kills 50,000 people. 2 Samuel, God kills 65,000 people. There is an objective moral standard established in the Bible called thou shalt not kill. Again, the definition of the devil is he was a murderer from the beginning. The only character in the Bible who meets the criteria of a killer and a murderer is the Christian God.
Alright, so y'all just seen that video clip. Okay, now I'm going to play another one. Usually when we have arguments like that, we always get counter arguments. And I'm going to play that counter argument right now that we typically get.
The number one question I get asked as a Christian is, if God is so good, then why does he allow all this bad stuff to happen? Or I hear it like this. A lot of people say, I don't want to serve a God that allows all this bad stuff to happen. Well, I'll go ahead and set the record straight. Jesus in the Word only says one other person other than himself in the Trinity is a God. He says that the devil is the prince of the power of the air, the God of this world. So if you think the world's really messed up and a lot of bad things are happening, I wonder why. Because the most evil creature is running it, and you're allowing him to run you. A lot of people say, why did God give my mom cancer? Why did God make my sister die? Okay, those things God did not do. Everything good comes from God and everything bad comes from the devil. But God is not responsible for all of the bad things. Jesus came on this earth to heal people and help people. God bless you. I hope this helped.
Now, for those of you that paid attention to that last video clip, she said that the most evil creature is being allowed to run the planet, and that's why all these horrible things are happening. Now, if I'm not mistaken, God created all this, right? And apparently he created this evil creature. It makes you think, right? Okay, now I'm gonna play one more video clip. Watch it, pay attention, then we're gonna talk about it.
I say it all the time. Believers want to give God all of the glory and none of the responsibility. When good things happen, that's because of God. When bad things happen, that's because of Satan. But who created Satan? Who knew that Satan was going to become the most evil entity in all of existence and still created him? Who had the ability to not create Satan, not create suffering, not create evil, and still did it anyway? I know I'm probably beating a dead horse, but I feel like I have to. Because like I always say, God is ultimately responsible for all of it. You can't just give him the glory for all of the good stuff and then wash his hands of the bad. If he is the all-powerful sovereign creator of the universe, then he is responsible for everything within that universe.
Now, had it been me making that video, I agree with everything she said, but if it was me, I would have had a microphone. And then at the end of my last statement, I would have dropped that mic, because it was a mic drop. Everything she said was true. Everything she said made perfect sense. And the main thing is, whenever something good happened, I notice people always give God all the praise. Okay, all the praise. They get a new car, whatever. They get a new car. It can be anything. They'll praise God for that as if he made that happen. And then when bad things happen, nothing. You know, they'll blame it on Satan, or they won't blame God. They'll blame it on something completely different. Because people in my family, they used to do that too. I got them straight, but they used to do that too. Let's say if they got a new car, they would praise God for that. And I'd be like, well, first of all, if you didn't work, if you didn't earn money to get that car, you wouldn't have that car. That is not an act of God. That was you. You put in the hard work to purchase this new vehicle. And then they'll think about it. It's almost like a light bulb will go off in their head. They'll think about it. They'll be like, at first they won't admit that I'm right, but they'll think about it. And they know I'm right. But it's like they've been conditioned to believe whenever something good happens, it's an act of God. And it goes back to that other video I made about the natural disasters, how when I was in the military, all those people died. No one want to blame God for that. But if as soon as something good happens, something positive in their lives happen, God gets all the praise. But whenever there's a natural disaster that just wipe out a ton of people, okay, like I said, it was 100,000 people or more died in that incident. No one want to blame God for that. You see what I mean? So it's kind of like a double standard. Well, it ain't kinda, it is a double standard. If he's a creator, he created all this, then ultimately he's responsible for it. And the lady at the last video clip, she made a great point. She said, who knew Satan would become the most evil entity and who still created it? God, right? Okay, so that makes him evil by default, right? That's what I be trying to tell people when they try to talk to me about that religious stuff. That's why I tell them, like I always say, they get mad if you talk about stuff like that they believe in, and what you say is contrary to their beliefs. Yeah, they're gonna want to cop an attitude, but they ain't getting no attitude with me, because I'm gonna shut that down quick. And the same thing with anti-nihilism. You know, you say something that goes against the narrative, they got a problem with it. But when it comes down to this religious stuff, it's all a huge joke. Okay, none of it adds up, none of it makes sense. But there really is a God. God either don't exist, or if he does exist, he's just straight up evil. Okay, point blank period, straight up evil. And then what get me, people want to say I'm evil, people want to call me a devil worshiper. Well, I mean, y'all be going to church, y'all be worshiping this evil God, that make y'all evil, right? So we ain't the evil ones. We just see things for how they are, and we're calling it out. We're not going to follow this whole narrative, okay? We're going to go against the narrative, because the narrative doesn't make no sense. It makes no logical sense. So when people bring forth logic, they want to get called devil worshippers, or y'all want to tell us we're going to hell, okay? Y'all the ones going to hell. If there is a hell, y'all the ones going. But really, the whole reason for me making this video is because I had did a YouTube short, probably like a week or two ago, something like that, with Neil deGrasse Tyson. Okay, he was speaking on the fact that if God exists, he is not all good. And Neil deGrasse Tyson brought up this earthquake that had took place back in the day in Lisbon. Okay, this earthquake had took place in Lisbon, and it killed about 80,000 people. And this just so happened to be on a holy holiday, and mostly all these people were in church, and all these people just got wiped out. So Neil deGrasse Tyson was trying to make the point that these people were in church, like worshiping God, and they just got all wiped out. And that was pretty much the whole short. Okay, the short's probably like 58 seconds, and then you know well, I got all these religious people coming to comments. Some were respectful, and then some were just flat out ignorant. You know, they were saying this guy's going to hell and saying all kinds of stuff. And then they were like trying to, of course, they came to God's defense. One person that said, yeah, well, God killed them all because he wanted to take them home. I'm like, God's gonna just savage. I didn't reply to that comment, but I'm thinking to myself, so God's just gonna savagely kill people just to bring them to heaven? I mean, does that make any sense? So that's why I mean when I say they came in with these ignorant comments, and then a lot of people just, yeah, a lot of people lashed out at Neil for saying that, but Neil said nothing wrong. Neil made perfect logical sense. And again, that's what I'm saying. When you say something that goes against their narrative, then they'll use shaming tactics. You know, they'll say things like, you're going to hell, or God's not going to rescue you. They'll say things like that. And then Neil had went on to add, after all those people died in church, there was a tsunami that came in. Okay, so this earthquake happened. It wiped out 80,000 people. And then this tsunami came in and wiped Lisbon off the map completely. And he ended that short by saying either God's not all good or he's not all powerful. And them religious people, they went ham in the comments, because even like some of you guys that comment on my regular videos, some of y'all watch those shorts and y'all comment, and some of the religious people went off on y'all too. And I blocked some of them. I didn't delete none. I just blocked them because it was uncalled for. It was unnecessary. But again, this just goes to show they've been conditioned to believe all this about this God, you know. And then when someone like us call it out saying, well, no, this doesn't make sense. If y'all's God is so good, then why are these things happening? Then they go ham, they just, yeah. So I thought they were so holy. Why are they being disrespectful? Why are they telling people they're gonna go to hell? Because what? Are we not entitled to our beliefs? I mean, why are you gonna tell somebody that they're going to hell because they have a certain belief? Now I'm gonna give y'all an example of what I'm talking about. Alright, so read this. Okay, so this young lady here, she comments on almost every video. Okay, almost every video I upload, she always comments. But she watched that short, and she was pretty much saying that if there's a good God, then humans shouldn't have existed at all. And what she meant by that is, had humans just not existed to begin with, then there wouldn't have been no suffering. Okay, there would have been no suffering, no natural disasters. I can go on all day. It would have been nothing. Okay, nothing, no harm being brought upon anyone. All right, and then this Monique chick, okay, I guess she an older church lady, whatever. She came in. I'm not gonna read the whole thing. Y'all can read it, but she was pretty much saying, she was telling this chick, hey, you're alive, but you choose to be unhappy, miserable, and negative. And again, like I always say, they always got to resort to calling us negative. We are not negative. Okay, we identify a problem and we're calling the problem out. But like I said, they always want to say we're negative or miserable, depressed, whatever. It's all the same. It's all synonymous with one another. But they resort to that shaming tactic. And the chick that made the comment, she was just saying, yeah, if God was good, then he wouldn't have created all this. If he's all good, all knowing, like you religious folks say, then it would have made more logical sense just not to do this at all. And then this Monique lady came in and just, yeah, she said this stuff that she really didn't need to say. And that happened to a lot of people. Like I said, I had to block a lot of people because it got to a point where they're just being rude. All right, and here's another example. All right, so this dude, his name's Bond. He was pretty much saying that God allows people to suffer. All right, and then this Monique lady came in again saying that he needs to read the Bible. Well, she's the one that needs to read the Bible, because if you read the Bible and have an open mind, you'll see just how evil and tyrannical this God is. Okay, the way they describe him, just how evil, tyrannical, petty, and narcissistic he really is. Okay, just by reading the Bible. So if anything, she's the one that need to read the Bible. Okay, and she responded to a lot of people that were, again, going against the narrative. She responded to a lot of people, trying to argue with them, and a lot of them did get into arguments. I don't know if I'm gonna leave that short up. I might just take it down. I don't know yet, but that's pretty much what happens when you talk about things like this. I want to say, as far as all of you religious people, okay, because I know y'all watch this video, although I told y'all not to watch this video. But anyway, all you religious people, you all are the ones that are incapable of thinking for yourselves. This is why you always rely on religion. This is why you all are always up in the church, because you can't think for yourselves. Okay, if you just look at this world for what it is, open up your eyes and read your Bible with an open mind, you'll be able to see that your creator is not what he's cracked up to be. That he is not good like y'all make him out to be. And another thing for you religious people, don't pull that stunt you pulled in the short in that comment section. Okay, don't come in here telling people they're going to hell or God's going to judge them. Okay, we don't care about your shaming tactics. And if you say that to a wrong person, they're going to hit you with logic and reasoning. Something that pretty much all of you religious people just don't have. You religious people lack logic and reasoning. All right, so don't come in this comment section being rude. Please don't do that. But I'm gonna end it there. And for those of you that did watch, I'll catch you in the next one. All right, so I was about to crash out, but I thought of this and I want to add this to the video. Now, first of all, I want to say that we don't wish harm on no one. Okay, that is not what this is about. Now, as far as religious people, I understand that we do not see eye to eye, but at the same time, we don't wish harm on anyone, okay? But what I wanted to say was, what I noticed, for a religious person to wake up, quote unquote, it usually requires some sort of, I don't want to say tragedy, but let's say unfortunate event. Okay, it usually requires some sort of unfortunate event for them to experience, for them to wake up, okay, for them to come around. Now, here's an example. Let's say that individual was involved in a collision, okay, a non-fatal collision, and that person sustained injuries. Okay, it got mangled up pretty bad. Let's say this was a religious person that happened to always in church, whatever. Okay, so they got in this collision, they got mangled up pretty bad, they got hurt, whatever. They pray, they pray, they pray. Okay, they pray for recovery day and night, and recovery never comes. Okay, they sustained all these injuries, but they never recover from these injuries. When something like that happens, then a light bulb go off in their head and they be like, oh snap, here I am praying. I'm all mangled. I'm praying to my God to help me recover. I'm not recovering. What's the deal? What's going on? And then that's when they realize that their God's not going to help them. Now, I'm not saying everyone's like this, because a lot of religious people, they won't budge no matter what. But the ones that are more wise, that's usually when they see that their God's not going to help them. Okay, when something like that happens, when something bad happens to them, and they pray and they pray, and their God doesn't help them out, and they'd be like, okay, well, I did everything God wanted me to do. I did everything God asked me to do, but I'm not recovering from these injuries. And it don't just have to be an accident. It can be anything. Let's say an illness, okay, some sort of illness that person might come down with. They pray about it and they don't recover from that illness, so things like that I notice when these people are very, very into the Bible, very religious, and then when some unfortunate event happens to them, they pray to their God, but they don't get healed or they don't recover from whatever. Then that's when a light bulb go off in their head and they be like, oh shoot, well, am I wasting my time praying to this God and I'm not going to be healed? I'm not going to be recovered. And then they'd be like, they'll adopt our mentality. They'll start thinking like us at that point. You know what I mean? So just something I was thinking about. I was laying down and that popped in my head, but that's something I noticed too. And again, like I said, when I was young, I was always into the church. My whole family was like that. And I seen that happen to people, they get mangled up in accidents and they say they've been praying and they don't get healed, and then their whole mentality changes because it's like they've been so faithful to God, this and that. And then when they need God, when something happens to them, nothing, they don't get the results they want. So it's like at that point, then why even bother with that? You see what I mean? It's like, why bother? You're being faithful. You're worshiping this God. Then when you're desperate, when you really need him, he ain't coming through. That's like a friend you might have, you're always helping this friend out. And then when you need him or her and they don't come through, I mean, why are you going to deal with somebody like that? So it's kind of the same thing. I know that's two different concepts, but that's at the same time, it's kind of the similar thing. It's kind of the same thing. So that's how I see it. But I just wanted to throw that in there. Thanks for watching, like always. Okay, I'll be making more of these videos. Let me know what y'all think in the comments, okay? I'll catch y'all in the next one. Embrace your inner darkness.